Raise your hand if you've ever swooned over Mr. Darcy, rooted for Jane Eyre, or secretly wished you could live in a Gothic castle. Spiky, you're falling. Okay. Romance novels have been capturing our hearts for centuries, but have you ever wondered how they became so popular? Let's take a trip back to the 18th and 19th centuries to find out. This is the second video in my series of the history and evolution of romance novels. If you want to check out the rest of the playlist for this series, I put the link to it in the description of this video. Last time, we explored the ancient roots of romance, from Greek myths to medieval tales of chivalry. Today, we're fast-forwarding to the 18th and 19th centuries, a time when romance novels as we know them began to take shape. This was an era of massive social change, the rise of the middle class, the beginnings of feminism, and the explosion of print culture. And guess what? Romance novels were right at the heart of it all. So grab a cup of tea, cozy up, and let's dive into the rise of the modern romance novel. Let's start in the 18th century, when the novel itself was still a relatively new form of storytelling. Before this, most literature was poetry, drama, or religious texts. But with the rise of the printing press and a growing middle class, novels became a popular way to explore everyday life and, of course, love. One of the earliest examples is Samuel Richardson's Pamela, published in 1740. This novel tells the story of a young servant girl who resists her employer's advances until he finally marries her. While it might sound a bit problematic by today's standards, Pamela was groundbreaking for its focus on a woman's inner life and her struggle for virtue and independence. Then there's Fanny Burney's Evelina, published in 1778. This novel follows a young woman navigating high society, love, and marriage. It's funny, heartfelt, and full of social commentary, qualities that would later define the romance genre. These early works set the stage for what was to come, stories about love, marriage, and the challenges women faced in a patriarchal society. But it wasn't until the 19th century that romance truly came into its own. Enter Jane Austen, arguably the mother of the modern romance novel. Austen's Pride and Prejudice, published in 1813, is a masterpiece of wit, social observation, and of course, romance. The story of Elizabeth Bennet and Mr. Darcy is iconic. Two people who start off disliking each other, but eventually fall in love. Sound familiar? That's because Austen basically invented the enemies to lovers trope. But Pride and Prejudice isn't just a love story. It's a sharp critique of the social norms of Austen's time, particularly the pressure on women to marry for security rather than love. Elizabeth Bennet is a revolutionary heroine for her era. Intelligent, independent, and unwilling to settle for anything less than true love. Austen's other novels like Sense and Sensibility and Emma also explore themes of love, class, and personal growth. Her work laid the foundation for the romance genre as we know it today, and her influence can still be seen in everything from historical romances to modern rom-coms. While Austen was writing about manners and marriage, another kind of romance was brewing, one filled with dark secrets, brooding heroes, and a touch of the supernatural. I'm talking about Gothic romance. Gothic romances emerged in the late 18th century and reached their peak in the 19th century. These stories were all about atmosphere. Think crumbling castles, mysterious strangers, and heroines in peril. But at their core, they were still love stories, just with a lot more drama. One of the most famous examples is Charlotte Bronte's Jane Eyre, published in 1847. Jane is a plain, poor governess who falls in love with her enigmatic employer, Mr. Rochester. But of course, there's a twist. Rochester has a dark secret that threatens to tear them apart. What makes Jane Eyre so groundbreaking is its focus on Jane's inner strength and moral integrity. She's not just a passive heroine waiting to be rescued. She's a fully realized character who demands equality and respect in her relationship. Other notable Gothic romances include Emily Bronte's Wuthering Heights, a story of obsessive, destructive love, and Anne Radcliffe's The Mysteries of Udolpho, which set the standard for the genre. These novels push the boundaries of what romance could be, introducing themes of passion, danger, and psychological complexity. By the mid-19th century, romance novels were reaching an even wider audience thanks to the rise of serialized fiction. Magazines and periodicals became a popular way to publish stories in installments, making literature more accessible to the middle and working classes. Authors like Charles Dickens and Wilkie Collins often included romantic subplots in their serialized works. For example, Dickens' Great Expectations features a heartbreaking love story between Pip and Estella, while Collins' The Woman in White is a thrilling tale of romance and intrigue. Serialized romances were designed to keep readers hooked with cliffhangers and emotional twists. This format not only made romance novels more popular, but also helped shape the way we consume stories today. Think of it as the 19th century version of binge watching your favorite TV show. So, what's the legacy of these early romance novels? Well, they gave us some of the most enduring tropes and archetypes in literature. The strong-willed heroine, the brooding hero, and the enemies to lovers dynamic. They also explored themes that are still relevant today, such as love, independence, and the struggle for equality. Jane Austen and the Bronte sisters didn't just write love stories, they created blueprints for the modern romance novel. Their influence can be seen in everything from historical romances to contemporary rom-coms. And let's be honest, we wouldn't have Mr. Darcy or Mr. Rochester without them. Because really, who wouldn't want to be in love with Mr. Darcy? Oh, thanks for joining me on this journey through the rise of the modern romance novel. Next time, we'll be diving into the 20th century when romance novels became a global phenomenon. Think Harlequin, category romances, and the rise of diverse voices in the genre. Now, I would love to hear from you. Let me know in the comments what your favorite classic romance novel is. Thank you so much for joining me for this video, and if you enjoyed it, make sure you hit that thumbs up button and subscribe to see more of my bookish content. Until next time, happy reading and see you soon. Bye!